Hi everyone, welcome to your Votes for Schools / Colleges training video. My name is Kate Harris and I'm the CEO of Votes for Schools, and in this video I'm going to do a couple of things actually. First thing I'm going to do is give you a bit of a background to the setup of Votes for Schools, kind of where we come from, just to give you that sort of foundation, if you like. And then in the second part, what I'm going to do is essentially get onto the site and show you exactly how everything works. And fundamentally, for me, the most important thing is in the next 20 minutes is that you can see how easy everything is to use, because we know as teachers ourselves how busy you guys are. So that's really the purpose of this video, so that you walk away super knowledgeable, but most importantly you can get in, get what you need, get out, get on with your day, etc. So just to start then, so I mentioned earlier, so I'm Kate, I'm the founder of Votes for Schools, and I was a secondary school teacher for 14 years, and the last 4 of those a member of the senior leadership team. And Votes for Schools really was born out of a couple of things really that I wanted to share with you. I think the first thing was around a level of consistency for our young people to have conversations about the world around them and about kind of personal development based issues. So whether that's sort of misogyny, county lines, knife crime, it was really wanting to get that consistency so that every young person, regardless of who their tutor is or their teacher is, has access to some information and can talk about the things that are affecting the world in which they're living in. So the second one was about being agile, and I think in schools and colleges we sort of are creatures of habit. We like to do what we've always done, and what I wanted to try and do was kind of shake that up a bit and say, look, let's be agile, let's work super swiftly so that we can respond to things that are happening for our young people. So instead of having a kind of long-term scheme of work, I wanted to create a kind of tutorial program that was almost like mimics working as a newspaper. So, you know, what we're working on this week, you are then talking to your young people about next week. And what that means is that we can be super responsive. And as you all know, as teachers and tutors, the world is moving super quick for our young people, you know, and actually even as adults, we are unaware of the next thing that they're probably already talking about in the here and now. So the agility side was to really be able to be responsive. So consistency, agility were kind of key for me. And the last one was about student voice. And I think, again, we're creatures of habit. We do what we've always done. And my vision is that every young person has a voice, and actually giving them a voice every week on issues that are actually real, that are happening in the world around us, is probably the best tool we can give them that is likely to get them motivated to go vote at 16, 18, when they're adults and when they have that ability to do so. So the student voice element was about being all inclusive. So it's not just those that kind of opt in and always want to get involved in debating and discussing, but actually every child. We're trying to nurture everybody's voice. So those were the 3 things essentially that kind of were the foundations for starting Votes for Schools. So in a nutshell, what we do is really simple. We produce content that you deliver, as I mentioned earlier, like a newspaper. So what we're working on now, you're delivering next week. So we produce the content, and I'm going to show you what that looks like in a minute. You then facilitate the conversation, and it is pick up and go. And then the students vote on what they've talked about in that session. Okay, so there's always a question posed at the beginning. The lesson then dissects it, looks at either side. It's really beautifully balanced. The students then think about what they're going to vote in response to the question, and then our system allows you to log it. And what is really brilliant about what we do, and it's probably the most important part, is we take that data and we then influence government policy. So like we talk to every government department, we talk to big charities that are so interested in our young people like Bernardo's, Place to Be, Save the Children. You know, these are people that are so interested in our young people classroom. So yeah, let's now get on. Let me share my screen with you and let me show you exactly how everything works. So if you guys don't mind just bearing with me, I'm going to share my screen. Here we go. Okay, so what's happened is I've logged in and I've got to what we call the dashboard. Okay, the dashboard is like the main event. So what you're faced with is a question. So we're looking at, should skincare products have age restrictions? So this is what young people are talking about this week. Now, what I'm going to do, I'm going to come back to this because whilst this is the main event, I do want to show you some other stuff we have on the website that, regardless of your role, hopefully you will find really, really useful. So just heading on over then to the left-hand side, you'll see the menu pops up. First thing I'm going to show you is the previous vote topics. Now, in here, you've got access to over 200 bundles of lessons. Okay, they are brilliant for emergencies because who doesn't want an emergency lesson up the sleeve? They're also really good for being responsive to pastoral issues. So I'll give you a quick example. Let's say there's some students in year 12, they're using, you've seen a trend in like something like misogynistic language, and you think actually as a tutor or as a head of year or as a pastoral lead, I need to have those conversations with those students. Guaranteed we will have covered it at some point. So anything sort of PSHE, personal development, countering extremism, difficult, controversial, we will have done it. So please always think Votes for Schools, Colleges, because we will have done it for you. And everything we produce is PowerPoint, so you can even play around and edit it, so it's really sort of localized for your particular needs. You can also search them by, they're all tagged, so you can search them in terms of their tags to PSHE, British Values, SMSC, and they're also tagged in our 9 key themes. So if you just take a minute to have a look at those, what you'll see is we give equal weighting to those across an academic year. So what that means is that you know that your students and you as a teacher are discussing a real breadth of issues. So one week we can be talking about skincare, the next week we can be talking about AI, the week after we can be talking about extremism. So it's really, really nice that there is this kind of this way of being able to keep them on their toes and keep it interesting for them. But like I say, you can search by those as well. So that's your previous stuff. Next thing to show you is all your additional packs. And again, it's pretty, it does what it says on the tin, but let's click on that. Now, what you'll see here, everything that I'm hovering over that turns red takes you to another part of the site where there are more resources for you. Okay, so as you can see here, there are 3 PSHE packages. These are what I would describe as hard hitting. So they are your FGM, your pornography, your county lines, and they're quite often the type of resources where you want to build it in, you kind of know you're going to be doing it, you've spoken to students, etc. So it's kind of more that you'd plan that in rather than it just sort of appearing as a weekly topic, because they're obviously very difficult topics to talk to young people about, but they're there if you want them, and they're difficult to get good content on those tricky subjects. So like I say, they're there for you. Living in the Wider World is a great careers package. So in there, you've got all sorts of different lessons that will help prepare your students for sort of life beyond college. You've also then got a whole section for display materials and printouts. So if you're that person that loves a good display, please head on in there and grab it. Equally, TV screens, college websites, all of that stuff, all of our assets, everything's in there. Do not reinvent the wheel. You guys do not have time. So everything is there for you. You've also got a whole host of additional resources that kind of don't quite slot into the sort of PSHE function. So that could be things like protected characteristics sessions or Stephen Lawrence Day sessions. So it's kind of all the stuff that still sits within personal development but doesn't quite fit the jigsaw too perfectly. So it's kind of under additional resources. You've then got curriculum information. Okay, so in this section here, we have produced for you exactly how Votes for Schools / Colleges meets the varying areas of the different curriculum that we're trying to help you, well, we're supporting you in meeting. So that is your SMSC, your British Values, your Prevent, your personal development. So what you've got is gorgeous overviews explaining how we do it. You've also, the lessons are mapped every week. So I'm going to show you what that looks like when I go back to that dashboard, but we map the curriculum for you every week. And then at the end of every half term, we give you a half term overview. And then at the end of the year, you've got your full overview. So it's belt and braces. So if you're somebody who's accountable for making sure that the sessions that Votes for Schools and Colleges is delivering for you is meeting those areas, then that the curriculum stuff is for you. There's also here, just to highlight, is we've written our own inspection commentary. So it's exactly what Votes for Colleges does to support the various areas of the framework. And it's written like a school, so you can sort of copy and paste it. So if any of you in the room have got that kind of accountability for reporting or participating in the self-evaluation of the school or college, then it's all in there and it's done for you. And I think that's really our kind of ethos, is like, regardless of your role, is that it's plug and play for everybody. So that's your curriculum stuff. So that's all your additional packs. Last thing to show you before I then head back to the main event is the handbook. So just think, when I say handbook, just think everything you would possibly need to roll it out. Just a couple of things I do want to just showcase for you. First thing you'll see is the calendar. Now, this is the calendar for September 25 academic year going forward. The calendars every year are released in the May. So really in the May, you know exactly then, you've got a few months, you know then what's coming in September. All of the pre-planned topics that we're running are in the calendar. So we do cover for you the Black History Months, the LGBTQ plus awareness days, the mental health, the safer internet, all of those kind of big days that you guys want to cover anyway, we will do for you. And I think what's unique about what we do is we won't regurgitate maybe things that you've seen in the past, because we still have that element of really, really innovative, up to date. So we're talking to young people about bullying. We're talking about stuff that's relevant in the here and now. So, you know, the use of AI and bullying and that type of thing. So we're not going to talk about historical stuff. We're very focused on what is relevant to our young people now. So that's your calendar. You've also got introductory lessons for the students, if you want to kickstart with that, introductory lesson for the staff. You've also here got policy guidance. Everything that we do that falls within that kind of personal development umbrella within schools and colleges, any guidance that comes from the Department of Education or central government that sits under that umbrella, give us a couple of weeks and we'll have written our own guidance for you. And again, it's just that safety net of saying, how does Votes for Schools ensure political impartiality? You don't have to write that statement. We've done it for you. So you can just kind of go, there you go, that's how they do it. And you can see we contribute to keeping children safe in education. So we contribute a lot to safeguarding, to oracy, LGBTQ plus. There's lots of stuff in there. So the handbook is there for you to look at. And as with all of our areas on the website, they're constantly being added to. So please do constantly go in and have a good look around, because there's bound to be stuff that you find really useful. So next stage then, now I've showed you all the stuff that sits on the periphery, is I'm going to go back to the main event, which is the weekly content, which is the stuff that you guys are going to be using as part of your tutorial program or as part of your program within that's unique to your school. So just give me a minute. I'm going to head back onto the dashboard. Okay, so we've arrived at the dashboard. So this is like I mentioned earlier, this is the main event. So just one thing I really want you to really remember is Friday, 4 p.m. Okay, so on a Friday at 4 p.m, this will automatically change for you. So whatever day you're delivering your Votes for Colleges session, when you log on, the one that you see is the one that you are doing that week. So you don't have to dig around, you don't have to go looking for anything. It's all going to be there for you. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you 3 things that are really important. Number one is, how do you get the lessons? So we're going to do that first. Then I'm going to show you how to log the votes. And then I'm going to show you how to view your results from your college. Okay, so without further ado, what we're going to do is we're going to access the lessons. So what you'll see is under the question, you've got these options. Now I want you to look at the first one. It says view vote pack. I want you to think lesson pack. Okay, that's where the lessons are. We just like to be a bit extra. So I'm going to click on those. And what you'll see is if you scroll down here, is you'll see the lessons that are available for you. So what we've got is we've got a shorter lesson, which is like perfect for tutorial. We've got a 45 perfect across tutorials, or as an extended session, or as part of your PSHE curriculum, however you choose to use it. You've got a bulletin, which is great for popping on the website. It just showcases what we've been talking about and what students have voted in the past. So it's just a nice addition for you to use if you want to use it. Before I click on the lesson, I'm just going to continue to scroll down for you. And I mentioned earlier that every week the lessons are mapped to the curriculum areas. So this is where the mapping is for you. So you can see there the areas of SMSC, British Values, Prevent, PSHE, RSC that this week's topic has covered for you. Okay, so they're all down there. So let's head on back to the lessons. What I'm going to do is I'm going to click on the 15-minute. And let's just open it up for you. So everything is PowerPoint, number one. So there is a sense of feeling safe and familiar for the students and for you guys as the teachers and the tutors. It also means there is a sense of, you know, if you wanted to edit it, you could. We don't advise it just simply because we know you don't have the time. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to kick off with the slideshow and I'm just going to showcase what it looks like. So it looks the same every week. Obviously, the content is different because the question is different. So we've always got the results that you can see, and we feature different colleges so that it's really important that the students know they're a part of something bigger, because everybody in your college, whether you've got 1,000 students or 5,000 students, is having the same discussion, which is really, really cohesive and brilliant. But there are thousands of students across the country having the same conversation, which I think is very unique. It's never been done before, and it's really quite motivating for the students. We always tell them who we are sharing or who has requested to know what the voting and the feedback from the students is that week. And we always give them feedback. So quite often we'll have videos. So we've had, like, as an example, we had like Rio Ferdinand, which was like the real claim to fame, and he did a feedback video for the students. So the whole time, whether it's an MP, whether it's somebody from the news that they would recognise, a sports person, we had the cast of a BBC children's programme. So we've got all sorts of different ways that we're feeding back to our young people to say actually making a difference isn't just about writing to your MP. It's lots of people are making a difference in the world. And then the session starts. So you've got the question, and then what you do is you just navigate. And all I'm doing is pressing the cursor. And I think the most important thing is that, you know, it never assumes you have knowledge and it never assumes you have time. So all I'm doing is clicking. Just a couple of things that I just wanted to highlight for you whilst I'm clicking this. Any videos, they run through SafeShare TV. So they start and end when they need to start and end. Super slick. Press the play button and it will just run for you. Everything is quality assured. So the copy, the grammar, everything is quality assured and goes through lots of checks. Is also politically impartiality checks, okay? And that's really important, because if we're asking students a question, it's vital we're giving them a balanced side, so that they get, when they do answer the question, that they really feel informed. The other thing that it goes through is a equality and diversity and inclusion check. So you will see that all of our content is very much representative of the world in which we live in. So we will have two mums, we will have young people with disabilities, we will have people from different parts of the world on the content, and that is a really important part of what we do. So yeah, you can see it looks fab. It's really, really great. The students really buy into it. And we always use really relevant stuff. So we do use stuff that is super on point for them. So what we're doing is we're just flicking through, and let me just keep going. I just want to get to the end for you. I'm flicking dead quick now. Let's go. And then the last slide is always the same. Okay, so it starts the same with the kind of kickoff and it ends the same. And the end slide is always the balanced argument that we have just talked about as part of the content. So at this point, for you as the tutor, what you're doing is getting the students to kind of just reflect, like, are they going to vote yes? Are they going to vote no on whether skincare products should have age restrictions based on what they've just kind of talked about and learned within the session? So at this point, you need to come out of your PowerPoint and we need to head on back to the website. So I'm just going to press escape, and then down here, I'm just going to go and find the website again. So here we are over here. And if you remember, to get to this stage where we could see the resources, I was on the dashboard and I clicked on View Vote Pack. I do need to go back to the dashboard. And I always say, if you ever get lost, go to the dashboard. So let's click on the dashboard. And here, this is now starting to probably look quite familiar for you guys, because that's where we went to earlier. Once you're here, what you'll see is there is a section down here that says vote now. So what I want you to do is just scroll down, and what you've got here is your voting mechanism. Okay. Now, there is a lot of colleges where the students have their own logins, and in which case you wouldn't do this part because the students are going to log on with their credentials and log their own vote. Okay, so and if that's the way that your college is working, then the lead teacher will make sure that you know that, and I will have worked with them to make sure the students all have their logins. But if you are using this facility, which is sort of simple and it works in sort of 99% of schools, just purely because mobile phones are a bit of a pain, then I just want to quickly show you how it works. So it's really, really easy. What you're doing as the tutor is you're working out how many girls in the class have said yes, girls no, boys yes, boys no. Any student that wishes to not disclose their gender identity or is gender neutral can have their vote cast down here, and you as tutors will know who they are. So you have that remit to be able to put the vote where you see fit. And it's really simple. How they take the vote is up to how you take the vote is up to you. The only thing I emphasize is try and make it so it's anonymized. So something like heads down, hands up, or even like a whiteboard where they can just flip it up, where it's hidden and then they flip it up. What you're doing is modeling that sense of democracy, which obviously, as we know, is anonymized. So let's pretend you're the tutor, you've taught your session, you've now got the results, you've quickly counted them up, and it's really simple. What you do is you put your year in. So we've got, because your colleges, you're going to have, well, some of you may be from year 9 onwards, but you've got 12, 13, and then you've got an option for anybody who is beyond that. So anybody that sits within that FE group, you can also click down there for. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pretend that I'm a year 13 tutor. So I've selected my year, and in here will be your groups. Okay, so your sort of tutorial groups will be listed in there for you. You can search just by typing yours in and it will find it for you. So if you're a college that's got like 300 tutorial groups, you don't want to be scrolling down that far, but if you just type it in, it will find the relevant one. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pretend that I am 12A, and then I'm just going to pop the vote in, and it's really simple. I'm just typing it in. So what I'm going to say is 11 girls said yes, and I'm going to say 14 said no. And then I'm going to say 9 said yes and 12 said no. And then I've got 2 students that are diverse in my group and they've both said yes. So I've popped that in really simply. And then I scroll down and it just wants me to press continue. What you'll see here is it's starting to pull your college's vote in live time onto this screen. So there is a bit of instant sort of gratification, if you like. It wants you to continue. This is really important. So press continue. And then here, just pop again, scroll down. It just wants you as the tutor to check you're happy with it. So yeah, I'm happy with that. Anybody who wants to leave a comment, please pop it in here. It appears in numerous reports that go to government, that go to charities. It can appear on the feedback slide like I showed you in the content. So it's really vital. Please don't panic. If a student came up and popped anything in here that was inappropriate, it's never going to make it into a report. So please don't worry. But it's just it's that extra bit of student voice, especially if somebody said something absolutely genius that you want to make sure is being heard. And then you just submit the vote. And I've just submitted it there for you. And really simply, I've been taken to my results page. So that's here. Just to show you, you can get to your results another way, back to the trusty dashboard, and you can click on view results and you will get to exactly the same place. Okay. And what I want to show you is what your results for your college looks like. And this is every week, which is super, super cool. So you've got the question, you've got a description, and then you've got your college's results. So you can see how you are voting in comparison to perhaps the region and in comparison to the national. You've also got options down here where you can play around and create graphs, so you can see maybe how different groups compare. And in a subject like skincare, that might be for some of you a really good thing to look at. If we're talking about things like mental health, that might be something that you want to go in and have a good look at, like challenge your own assumptions. So for example, we always assume that girls find it easier to talk about mental health. Is the data telling you that? So you can use this to be able to really have a look at how different people are voting. So you can see what I'm doing is I'm creating my own graphs. So I've got year 13, year 12, and you can see the comparisons, which is great. All of these are downloadable. So you can whack them on displays, put them on TV screens, etc. Go down, you've got your results by gender, same thing, all of it is downloadable. And then you've got your participation figures. Okay, so whoever is responsible for ensuring that there is consistency across, magic word, consistency across the college, this is where they would go to. Okay, so they're just going to double check that the right amount of votes have gone in. So you can see they're listed by year group. They're also listed by group, so you can see all at the end of the week, all of the groups that are voted are there. And then you've got your area, your curriculum areas again. Here, do you remember they're in the vote pack bit when you scroll down? They're also here for you, so they're actually repeated. And then you've got your raw results. So in terms of like your evidence for governors, for inspectors, trustees, etc., or even, you know, anybody that's you're showcasing to, this is like the perfect page. You've got your results, you've got your curriculum map, it's all beautifully done for you. You've got your participation figures, you've got your different results, you've got your comparisons, you've got what you talked about, when you talked about it, a description of it. And then all that happens on Friday at 4 p.m, because that's the magic moment, is it will appear as the top topic in your previous vote topics. And what you'll see here is you can go back and you can always view your results. So there is no need to copy paste, to download things, to save them in shared areas, to print things off. Everything is on the website for you. So that, ladies and gentlemen, is a quick whistle-stop tour of the site. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen. Great. So I really hope that this session has given you that beautiful kind of insight into what we do and why we do it and what we really want to try and achieve. And I hope that you get a sense of how easy everything is in terms of being able to use it to get in, to get what you need, to get out, to get on with your day, because it is plug and play. Last thing for me to say is, look, we welcome any kind of feedback. We're really, really open. We're all teachers. If you've got a great idea for a topic, always reach out to us. We're super open. We believe in partnerships and collaboration. So you're one of us, part of the Votes for Schools sort of community and family. So any problems, always touch base with the team. And look, good luck with everything. Really looking forward to seeing how everything progresses with you guys. And yeah, go get them. Thanks everyone. Lovely to meet you, and see you all soon. Bye.